been phenomenal. Celestial has been running to the top goal zone, staying in the home goal zone. Nobody from Gaming Gladiators were able to put any Aeos energy in those two. Celestial keeps them from scoring. Celestial keeps Full Send in the lead. Full Send are your Eos Cup champions.
As someone whose main priority is winning, second place is not enough. At the same time, I recognize that though I wasn't a winner today, it's important that I tell this story for the fans, for you watching right now, and even for myself in the future, so that I can reflect back on this moment. This is how I got second place in Pokemon Unite's Eos Cup. While this was a two-day event, the journey for this tournament starts a couple months in the past. My team, the Gaming Gladiators, were fresh off an undefeated run in the February finals. Our games were dominant, and we were in full form. There was no Hoopa, no Duraludon, no objectives being flipped on spawn, just a meta that revolved around team fighting and strong lanes, which we were confident in. Our first place reward was some championship points, and the chance to play in the March finals without the need to qualify. This is where things started to go downhill. With the introduction of Hoopa and Duraludon came a meta that allowed our opponents to instantly teleport onto objectives and take it down within seconds, without the ability for us to have a team fight. Our practice sessions into this tournament went well, and we were a team that everyone feared. Combination of the flip meta, plus the overall competition elevating and prepping for our team, and just a plethora of mistakes on our part, we fell short placing in the top 6, one of our worst tournament placements to date. Now, if you've been following me or my team's journey throughout the history of Pokemon Unite, you know that whether we were under Love D's, TTV, or now Gaming Gladiators, everything we participate in, we play to win. And we still have the best tournament record with a first place rate of over 75%, spanning over almost 100 tournaments. A 6th place finish was devastating for us, and a wake-up call that we needed to get it together. In the following weeks, we prepped harder than ever, playing through the qualifiers, and despite a somewhat shaky run, we were able to secure a spot in the Eos Cup. From those qualifiers up until this Eos Cup, we participated in various community tournaments hosted by Rush, by G4, by Smash.gg, and the like. And for the most part, our performances were dominant. Several first place finishes, a couple second places, and we started to regain our spot as a team to be feared. So here we are, day 1 of the Eos Cup. We were participating in a group stage. Each group has 4 teams, and all play each other once in individual best of 3s. The 2 teams with the best match win-loss advance onto a double elimination bracket. Reaching the grand finals from the winner's bracket side gives your team the opportunity to reset to another best of 5 if you end up losing the first one. Our group, Group A, was considered the group of death, featuring 4 Infamous, a team with content creators coming off a big win, defeating my team in a community-run tournament weeks ago in the grand finals. Team Blossom, the winners of the previous March finals, and just a dominant team that's been together for quite some time. And Team TOS, a team that features players who have seen individual success since the inception of Unite, coming together to prove themselves. With a group that featured household names all across the board, we got started with our first match against Team TOS. And instantly they come out with a strategy that completely blindsides me and the team. They leverage their Hoopa portal to fake us out, sending their entire team one way, and then rotating them back another way to secure the objective, secure that first shred, before we even had the time to respond. That led to them snowballing in experience and a team fight that we just couldn't handle in the late game. And we were overran in the first game of the Eos Cup. First game for a tournament that we knew had everything on the line, we lost. With just weeks and months of practice on the line, we weren't prepared to be sent home just after our first game. We talked together, made some adjustments, and we came out swinging to win the next 2 games comfortably. After being shaken up in that set, we knew that teams were here to play, and they were ready to play a style that would work against us by just creating chaos around the map, taking objectives, flipping objectives. Whatever it took, teams were here, and they were ready to beat us. Our second set versus Blossom also wasn't the easiest set. A team that's packed with talented individuals and a playstyle that they mostly acquired from our gameplay, we had a tough battle. even losing the early game pretty badly due to some well-played engagements on their part. We did what we do best, and we kept our heads in the game. Got the zap, we took team fights, even down resources, and we came out with another match win, practically guaranteed our spot out of the group stage. We advanced to our final set versus Foreign Famous, and at this point, we'd all have warmed up, and we were looking to beat them after dropping a match to them in the finals the last time we met. Much of the same dominance we're used to prevailed throughout this set, and I even went an unconventional build, leveraging Phantom Force as opposed to Shadow Ball in one of our games, which is out of pure instinct, which secured a double knockout on their carries, Machamp and Charizard, and ultimately securing that game and that set. This brings us out to the group stages and onto the bracket phase of the tournament. Our path to the finals involved beating 3 teams: Blackhand, Nemesis, and Full Send. Full Send, a team that we defeated in the February finals, in the grand finals of that tournament, and a team that, just as legacy players from the inception of Unite, we knew that this was a team that we needed to respect and play our best versus. We felt pretty comfortable going into their comp in Game 1, came out with a win there. In Game 2, they decided to shake things up and ran a Solar Beam plus Talonflame Fly combination that involved just trying to secure the last hits on objectives and ignoring fights. And they found some success with it, but we were able to come out ahead with some timely plays in the late game. And just something about how they played the game didn't sit well with me. And even though they were our first match in the bracket stage, I knew that we needed to keep an eye on them and the way that they approached the game. But we moved on. Next round was up against Blackhand, a team that we've historically done very well against. Typically, their playstyle revolves around Overlord, their top laner on Lucario, Chaotic, their jungler looking to support him and get him through his power spikes, and a bottom lane tri-lane that's very similar to how we like to play the game: tank, support, and attacker. Knowing that they like to play very similarly to us, and we believe that we're the more dominating team, we did a clean 2-0 against them, and we're confident throughout that whole set. And then finally, we meet against Nemesis, a team that is no longer up and coming. They might have been considered up and coming for a while, but they proved their spot in Unite as one of the dominant teams, recently actually acquired by Aphelion Esports. They've got a unique playstyle with Archu on the world-renowned Gradient gameplay, Yeet Fan on his unconventional attackers like Decidueye and Cramorant, and Rex, their tank player who likes to play extremely hard to take down tanks like Slowbro, Blissey, and even Trevenant before it was popular, before the buffs. We'd obviously prepped for them, assuming that they'd get to the finals or close to it and that they'd be a team to beat. Game 1, however, they brought out a strategy we weren't expecting, a strategy involving Blastoise, a popular Pokemon for this tournament. Now, Blastoise is seeing a lot of play for many different reasons. One, it recently got buffed with the Water Spout Rapid Spin build. It's a tanky Pokemon that can survive despite the huge nerf to Buddy Barrier. His damage and his engage is no longer countered by Buddy Barrier, as there's just less Buddy Barriers in the meta. And he synergizes very well with Hoopa portals by going in with Rapid Spin and coming out with Hoopa. For Game 1, we fought hard, we played against their team, and it wasn't really typical Nemesis that we were used to seeing. So we were anticipating a Game 2 change. And after beating them in Game 1, that's exactly what we saw in Game 2. They went back to their standard composition that they've been rocking for months and found great success in. Their bottom lane Decidueye stacking attack weight, unkillable Trevenant tank, and that annoying Gradient in the top lane, the jungle Greninja, and just a Hoopa of their own. This is a composition that's worked really well for them. Despite them having weaker lanes than most people would assume based on their composition, they came out swinging and they gave us a really tough time in the early game. But we were ready against their Pokemon, we were ready against their playstyle, and it wasn't too much that was needed for us to take them down. We did just that. We cleaned house and we went 6-0, leading up to the grand finals, not taking any losses in the bracket stage. This is where all the casters, the entire community, everyone on Twitter was saying, Game & Gladiators, Team GG is back. But while all of this was happening, there was something brewing. A new style of play developing during the Eos Cup. But this time, it wasn't during the NA Eos Cup, it was in Europe. Random Gaming, one of EU's finest teams, had to put together a composition comprised of Blastoise, Sylveon, and Lucario. Their objective? Unlock their unstoppable damage sources, put pressure on the early game with their tanky Pokemon, and simply hit the objectives, being unable to be countered. Blastoise Rapid Spin plus Water Spout. You're unstoppable during the cast. Lucario's Power Up Punch, Close Combat, and Unite move, all unstoppable during the cast. Sylveon's Hyper Voice and Calm Mind combination, well, if you're not unstoppable, the move just simply cannot be interrupted once it's been cast. These Pokemon are all extremely hard to bring down, and you simply can't stop them from hitting the Dreadnought or Zapdos once they're on top of it, which is only further made difficult by their two support Pokemon in Blissey and Hoopa, restoring their HP, giving them shields, and the opportunity to land right on top of the objective at any given moment. Random Gaming in EU used this composition and secured themselves a first place tournament placement just hours before our grand finals, using this strategy, and it looked terrifying. Comes time for our matchup, where we're placed against Full Send, who made a miraculous run through the losers bracket. Considering we just went 6-0, which included a 2-0 victory against this team, we were confident that as long as we played to our full potential, we'd be able to come up with a first place finish. And that's where everything went truly wrong. Right out the gate, it was apparent that they had been studying random gaming strategy and were ready to play it the exact same way. This strategy takes hitting objectives and ignoring everything else to the next level. You can see it simply in the Lucario's item choices: Energy Amp, Attack Weight, X Attack, Weakness Policy, all modifiers to ensure his Unite move combo hits can do a maximum damage to the objective and secure the last hit. In the past, losing Zapdos wasn't too rough, as you could use a combination of Buddy Barrier and Score Shield to mount a push and counter score in the final minute. But with large nerfs to both of those items, the finals really looked like it was all going to be about the Zapdos. Now, to our opponent's credit, they played very well in the early game to set up advantages around the map to guarantee the experience needed to execute their hit turtle, hit bird strategy. And they took objective flips that were in their favor, so it's not like they left it up to a game of pure chance. But with several back and forths, we lose our first best of 5 against them in the finals. Thankfully, we came through the winner's bracket and we had the benefit of a bracket reset. We regained our composure and we went back at it for another shot. We made adjustments along the way and tried everything we could think of to mitigate the chances of an objective just getting flipped, which brought us down to a Game 5 in the final game in the final series of the Eos Cup. And I wish I could say, for those of you that made it this far into the journey with me, that we came out shining after a tough road, but the consistency and the overall strength of their composition were just too much to overcome. But this isn't the end of my journey. This is just the beginning. This tournament still awarded us with $5,000, enough championship points that we can enter the Worlds qualifier without any worry, and most importantly, a lesson. A lesson that preparing against our opponent's strategies isn't enough. We need to consider all possibilities from around the globe. A lesson that we need to come prepared with more than just one strategy. And maybe we needed to just stay more focused. We didn't lose to a particular strategy. We didn't lose to ourselves. We lost in the finals to a team that simply played better. And I'm okay to admit that. It's not going to stop me from coming back and winning it all. With Worlds qualifiers just around the corner and May finals coming up at the end of this month, we're going to make sure that we took the lessons that we learned and come up with a win. That's it for this time. I'll see you in the next video.